Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw, and I'm here once again with Angie Lycia, who is the president of the Global Travel Collection. Now, if you don't know what the Global Travel Collection is, it's the new name announced last year for the group that is part of Internova Travel Group, and it includes such agencies as Pro Travel International / Zell Travel Group, as well as some other brands like Andrew Harper Travel, Colette's, R. Crusoe and Son, those are some British firms, All-Star Travel, and of course, In the Know Travel Experiences. So it's basically the higher end, larger agencies, a lot of larger agencies for Internova Travel Group, and its sister, of course, is Travel Leaders Network. So we're going to talk to Angie about what's going on with the group, as well as the prospects for that her travel advisors are seeing, which is very important for 2021 and beyond. And you're going to hear about all that and more on Insider Travel Report. Now, first of all, as I always ask, how are you and where are you?
Well, thank you so much for asking. I'm in Florida still. It was interesting. Last week was my 1-year anniversary of not being on an airplane. So I'm in Tampa, Florida, in my office where I've been for an entire year. So
we got to travel a little more. I don't know.
I need to get out of this place.
Yeah, I've been to Ecuador and Galapagos, and I've been to Vegas, and I've been to Mexico, and I'm the bad boy. I'm traveling all over the place. So what am I going to do? And I'm now going down to your neck of the woods soon, down to Florida, followed by hopefully New Orleans. So we'll see what happens. But we got to get you out on the road a little bit.
I would agree with you.
I think you need a good travel advisor to suggest some. That'd be a good idea.
I've got 1,000 of them who would be able to help me.
There you go. I don't think you're going to have a problem there. Now let's talk a little bit about the Global Travel Collection, a name that wasn't unveiled last year. But what's its place in Internova Travel Group? And did I not mention anything that it includes?
Well, I'll go through the listing first, but I think you nailed them all. So Pro Travel, Zell Travel Group, All-Star, Andrew Harper, Travel Colette, R. Caruso and Son, all stored in the know. So I think you got them.
I think I got it. I was pretty good. That's it.
I think you did.
I did my research.
Our placement within the organization, the last May, JD made an announcement of the reorganization and really designed into operating company. So we have Internova as the parent company,
right.
And then we have the All Tour division, which is primarily corporate. Of course, they have other types of business. Our division, which is upscale leisure, corporate travel, production, and entertainment.
Right.
And then we have the network, which is run by John Lovell. So we fit in the middle. We have the fun of having these extraordinary customers that go on extraordinary trips with these advisors that have a tremendous amount of experience. So for us, it's a lot of fun.
No, and you have all that high-end stuff, so it's great. And I know most of your agencies very well. Maybe not the British ones as well, but all obviously Pro Travel and Zell, and I've even done interviews with your In the Know division. So it's a very eclectic group, but a really great group, but very aimed at much more upscale travel. Now let's talk a little bit about your agencies and your travel advisors, and how have they held up during the past year of pandemic, and how have they kind of stayed in business?
Yeah, so again, I thank you for the question, because I think about this all the time. We hear in the press so much about all these other industries that have been impacted, but, we really don't hear a lot about the advisors. And going back to last March, April, May, these guys didn't sleep, right? So they were refunding, they weren't making any income, they were bringing people back from countries they couldn't get from, they were basically taking all the revenue they made and they were returning it back to the consumers,
right?
From the vendors. So it was tough, right? And I think these guys are the unsung heroes. They helped so many people, and I don't really think that they've gotten the recognition that they deserve. But fast forward to now, so surviving.
Right.
This is such a resilient group of individuals. These travel advisors, they're passionate, they're compassionate, they this is an industry that they love. So it has been very, very tough for them. They're surviving through, the different government programs that have been available to them. Some have had to declare unemployment. They, dipped into their savings, just like mid-America. So, but you know what the thing is, they're not giving up. They're absolutely not giving up. So they stay in business.
Yeah.
And every day I see this like light at the end of the tunnel. I see advisors sending messages, saying, hey, I just got this booking. I'm looking into this. So, I feel bullish on what the future is going to hold for them. They just got to hold on for a couple more months till the revenue starts returning, and then we'll be off to the races.
Well, your advantage is you probably have the cream of the crop there, the ones that are part of your group. And have you seen any drop off in the number of travel advisors who might have left your organization and travel agencies?
Mm-hmm. So I'm happy to say we've only lost one advisor through this.
And who is that? Who is that? Who's giving up?
It's like my secret. We had one advisor, but the advisor stayed in the travel family. So in our family, they just went to a different group. So they left our group and went to a different group. That's the only advisor that we lost that chose to leave the organization. So we feel very fortunate that what we're creating and the home that they had before, that they feel so strongly about. And they feel like we're an agency that's here to stay.
Great.
Which is another reason why we're winning new business.
Well, that was going to be my, not only new business, but you're getting new agents. I think it was a proven fact that you actually put out a press release saying that a number of new independent advisors are joining your agencies as part of your group. Why do you think they've done that, and what's the attraction? And I would think that most have joined the Pro Travel Zell part of your group, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there are other.
No, you're correct. You're absolutely correct. I mean, certainly John Lovell and his division, they've seen a good influx within Nexion and recruiting of agencies into the network. And then for us, we've had a substantial growth. And again, for us, I've said this before, for us, this is not about growing, it's about influence, bringing in advisors that can help us with our portfolio, that can create incremental influence. When you ask, why are they joining? They're seeking affiliation with a trusted company. We are fortunate to be attached to Internova and have shareholders who support us. So we have strong backing. We have the ability to survive. I think we've done, through the help of Kelly and Liz in our PR department, we've done a good job of getting the message out about what we're creating, our path that we're going, the vision. And I have to call out the leadership team, because when we have new advisors coming in and our leadership team comes to the table and they talk about our company, we're real, we're honest about what we offer. If we don't have it, we tell them. And this leadership team continues to shine. And a lot of advisors coming, on board for our process procedure support, but also our leadership.
No, that's great. And indeed, I think the suppliers and destinations pay a lot of attention to your group because it is so large and has so many different travel advisors and agencies. Indeed, you guys are taking part of my job away. John Lovell is interviewing Arnold Donald of Carnival Corp. And then I had to interview John about his interview. Actually said, I think he did a good job. And then yesterday, Roger Block was interviewing Gavin Landry, who's the head of Visit Britain here in the U.S. So I was like, well, maybe I don't have to work anymore. You guys are just doing all the interviews. But
no, we're not.
When is your interview? When is your interview?
They're not taking your job. They're helping you evolve your job.
I guess it. That's the way to look at it, right? But now I want to see you. You're up. You gotta find.
Think of a good one for me.
There you go. I'll be happy to send. Who do I want you to interview? Let me see.
Okay, there we go.
Now let's talk a little bit about the integration of all these agencies. You created this global travel collection. How has that gone so far? And obviously, it was a tough year to do this, or maybe it was a good year. I don't know, because you didn't have everybody focused on sales, and they could kind of focus on each other. But tell me, I mean, are there more of them working together and sort of leveraging their strengths?
Yeah, so it's interesting because there's two sides to every coin, right? Doing this in a pandemic and trying to create this new environment when the entire team that's rebuilding it is remote was a challenge. I mean, we have talk about Zoom exhaustion, right? Like the amount of hours, when we first started, we scheduled 2 hours a day for 2 weeks, and every single day for 2 hours we were planning. And so that was the biggest challenge of it. The good side of the coin was that the volume was low, so it gave us the opportunity to really focus on the integration and looking across all of our processes, procedures, technology, leadership, resources to say what is the best of the best. and then create the vision and then start to build it. So the fact that the volume was low, and we could get to the advisors a little bit more easily, because as it is, right, usually they're so busy to get their attention. They're focusing where they should focus, on their customers and creating revenue. So that was the good side of it. Overall, it's gone very well. Integrations are integrations. There's always, you have to divide and conquer and decide what you're going to do. So, for the majority, I think we've done a very, very good job. We've finalized the last of the different implementations of processes and procedures in February. And so now we're looking at refining and execution. But overall, considering the circumstances, I think everybody did a great job.
Well, and that goes to the fact that you also have this new brand name, the Global Travel Collection.
Yes.
Has that helped, or is this something, the benefits of that name are still to come?
I think it's still coming. From what I've seen from like a hotelier perspective, they've been very appreciative of bringing it together, because for them, they're doing multiple contracts, right? And if they can come to us and do a singular contract, it makes it so much easier for them. It makes it easier for us to manage. I think people are still getting to know who Global Travel Collection is. And then, of course, we've given the flexibility to the advisors to use whatever brand, they want to use. So in some cases, they're starting to identify as Global Travel Collection, which we love. In others, they're choosing to stick with their own brand or going with Pro or Zell. So, we're flexible in that space, but this particular platform affords us the luxury of giving the advisors the choice.
No, that's great. And in fact, I'll congratulate you, because I think the last time we talked, you didn't have your website up. And finally, you got the Global Travel Collection website up. But
we do.
I'm happy to see that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a landing page now. We're currently in the process of refining it. So you'll have to go out and check it. I'll ping you when it's ready, but you'll have to go out and check it and see how we've brought the children of the family under the umbrella, or the parent of the family. So we're excited about what the new launch of the first.
Well, you almost beat the Internova Travel Group website, but we're waiting to see that one too, and that's a huge umbrella, of course.
No, we'll beat them. No, I'm just kidding.
There you go. Now let's move to let's shift to the market overall. What does luxury travel the luxury travel market look like going forward? Are luxury travelers booking travel now? Are they booking for this year into 22, 23? What are you hearing from your travel agencies and travel advisors?
Yeah, so I answer you by saying yes, yes, and yes. So we are, we're fortunate to have the demographic of consumer that we have. And they are thinking, they're planning. What they want is they just want to be able to travel. They want to be able to travel someplace safe with protocols that are established. They're waiting for markets to open up, but they're booking. We're seeing private jets, private islands. We're seeing, villas. We're seeing, them going to St. Thomas. We're seeing them go to Puerto Rico. We see them going to Hawaii, Aircard Hotel. We're even seeing future bookings for tours and cruises. We had an amazing sale a couple of days ago from an advisor that was a cruise that was an extraordinary amount of money. So people are starting to think, they're starting to plan. Our advisors are ready. Our advisors are informed. They have access to resources to help inform the consumer on, what they have to know and what they should know. And I think the traveling population is starting to feel very supported by the agency community.
No, absolutely. My next question was going to be, it sounded like, yeah, they are booking cruises, they are booking tours. Obviously, cruises, we're still waiting for the restart. You can't get anybody to say on the record exactly when that's going to happen, because people are just not sure. We hope by the summer now, but although we hoped by the summer last year, I mean, it's just amazing. And tours, and then, of course, resorts. And, of course, I hear, if you want to go to Mexico, you want to go to the Caribbean, people are going, even now. And then maybe some other places, some exotic places. I was just on a call with somebody in Zambia, and Zambia is open if you want to do safaris over there. So where are you hearing, what destinations are luxury travelers booking? What seems to be the most popular thing year in and farther out into next year? I know you've had some surveys from travel leaders and Internova that say Europe is looking great for next year, but this year probably not. But where do people want to go now?
Yeah, so I think for the short term, like the quicker trips or the more interim trips, they're staying pretty much domestic. Again, we're seeing some private islands. We're seeing St. Thomas, Puerto Rico, some of the areas that are open that are a little bit more on the tropical side. Florida's getting a lot of business right now. And will continue, I think, to get a lot of business. They're staying away from the larger, outside of Florida, the larger coastal type cities that have still high rates of coronavirus and that have restrictions. So like the other day I was looking to go to New York, but I have to quarantine for 3 days. Well, I only had 5, so I'm not going to quarantine for 3.
Right.
So I think we're seeing a lot in the Midwest. We're still seeing a lot in, rural areas, state parks. But I think this particular demographic, they're looking towards the future. They're looking for, can I go on a safari? So we have seen Africa pick up. We've seen, Europe in the future,
right.
Different destinations that people are wanting to travel to. So not seeing as much Latin America right at the moment, more Europe. We're seeing some Asia. I think people are still kind of sitting and waiting what's going to happen with the Olympics. I think there's some people who would like to do
Sure.
that, but everybody's waiting to spend that money to go. So yeah, we're seeing the gamut. We're seeing a lot of different types of trends.
Right.
We're seeing the boomers who have gotten vaccinated going on spring break and leaving everybody else at home. So
Why not?
Yeah, they're having fun. I mean, they feel safe. They've been cooped up for a year. Why not?
Yeah, but you got to watch those bars in Fort Lauderdale for the boomers. We're going to go crazy there. We have these recollections of spring break of lore. But no, you're right. It seems that people who have had vaccinations and are out there, they want to go. And I'm still waiting for mine. I'm not old enough. I'm not young enough. I'm not sure which, but I haven't been able to access anything yet. But boy, as soon as I can, I'll do that. But meantime, I'm traveling all over the place as I usually do. But
yeah, just be careful. I said to somebody the other day too, we were talking about the vaccines. I said, I'm just too young yet to be able to get mine. So
yeah, well,
that's a story we'll stick with.
I had COVID already, and hopefully I'm not a candidate for having one of the first people who had it twice. So we'll see what happens. But it wasn't fun, believe me. But I got through it, thank goodness. But it does take a lot out of you, believe me. But I'll be first in line to get that vaccination. Although now I got a whole choice of which vaccine do I want, right?
I know, right?
It's going to be like, I can see the advertisements coming out like, go for the, you go for this, go for the Johnson & Johnson. No, doing this, but we'll see what happens. A lot of my friends and even my daughter, who was a lot younger, got a vaccine. So,
oh, really?
For a variety of reasons. She's a teacher.
Definitely. Teachers need to be at the top of the list.
Yeah. Okay. So no, it's true. Now let's shift a little bit to kind of the programs that are developed by Internova and your sister Travel Leaders Group that your agencies have used to sort of help get more bookings. I think, are you also have access to this Book with Confidence program, things like that?
Yeah, I think what's important is that for the contract we did with Xlogs, the Book with Confidence program, those were really those programs were designed not necessarily to get people to book. It was to arm the advisors with information so that we could do the best job consulting with somebody so that they can make the decision to book. As a result, I do believe it has created some additional bookings, but we didn't design it to increase volume. We decided to create it as a support mechanism for the consumers and for the advisors. And it's proving to be quite helpful.
No, absolutely. Any other programs that sort of you've developed as part of all of Internova that your agencies and advisors have been able to turn to achieve more success?
Yeah, so the Book with Confidence, the Share Care, and the through the Forbes Travel Guide,
right.
And then again, of course, we did this contract with Xlog, which has been an amazing resource of immediate information for us on details about any particular location, so that
and that's really important. It's a minefield out there that you have to find out when I went to Ecuador and Galapagos, I think I had about 4 different COVID tests back and forth when you got it, and all the regulations, and you found out you can do it. It's possible.
You can.
And you're talking about, I can't believe Latin America isn't more popular, because that particular trip was amazing, and I would encourage everyone to try it. And there are other destinations in South America that are equally as good.
Yeah.
So I think to have that kind of resource that you're talking about is invaluable for your agencies and your agents, because if you can just look one place, I mean, for me, I looked at about 1 billion places when I was, because they sort of helped me, the supplier, but you really need a good travel advisor. And, I don't always have that because I'm being invited by the supplier. So it's a different thing. So I always lose out on that. Now
and the information changes all the time. So,
absolutely.
You can't just take the information once and just rely on it. You got to keep checking. I mean, again, that's what our advisors do on behalf, and these programs do on behalf of the consumers.
Yeah. So overall, obviously, being part of a group like Internova has really helped everybody. You're not going to say no. I know that, but it's
no.
it doesn't help at all. Maybe we should leave.
I don't know why I'm here. No, I'm just kidding.
But that's been a good resource, obviously, because you have a massive, a lot of people with a lot of experience. You got the contracts all together. You have the resources, the education, the training that you can provide all as one big group and pass that on to your agencies.
Yeah, I think the other value, I spoke of the shareholder support in the, the stableness of our organization. But I think the other thing that's very unique about Internova compared to most travel agencies, we have so many different business models. We have a place for every type of advisor that wants to be here. We have every type of travel. And so when one side starts doing well that another isn't, we can support each other and get that balance. And that's, I think, very unique to Internova and the way in which we're structured and the type of business that we conduct across all of our different operating companies. I do believe it's been a huge advantage to us. And again, I believe we're fortunate to be part of the organization.
No, it's really especially who knew this was going to happen the last year when Internova was planning all this, and and you really had become the largest agency group in terms of number of agencies. I'm probably in sales as well, and advisors. I mean, I looked at the numbers that you have are pretty astounding. In terms of your percentage of Internova agencies and advisors that you have of the entire advisor universe. So it's a real, credit to what you guys have done. Now let's talk a little bit about what do you think the future holds for Global Travel Alliance and your agencies. How quickly do you think you can emerge from this pandemic downturn and get back to, as I said, whatever the new normal, I hate that word, is for travel and travel advisors that who book your travel?
So first, I think we were very, if I can say so myself, I think we were very smart in the way in which we built back the year. So from our budgeting standpoint, our resourcing standpoint, we really built a worst case scenario environment. Mm-hmm. And what that allows us to do is manage to the bottom line very, very carefully. That's going to be very key to our return. Revenue needs to return, of course. But unlike so many publications that just talk about the doom and gloom, I feel very bullish on our path. I believe that there's light at the end of the tunnel. I think our future is extremely bright, not just for us, but for our industry. Consumers want to travel. Just like we were talking earlier, I want to go somewhere. Yeah. People want to travel. We're seeing festive already booking up for 21, 22 because people are planning ahead. They just want to do it safe, and they just want to know that if I go, I'm not going to be harmed by going. Sure. So once we can establish that, get more vaccine in people's arms, ensure that protocols are solid, people will get out there. Luxury travel, it's pent-up demand. I've been saying that since September. The upturn is going to be very, very positive for us once we turn the corner. I think the opportunities across our organization and us partnering with our partners on unique offers in different destinations, I think is going to be where we spend a good part of the balance of our year once we turn the corner. And I think the trajectory for travel, I believe we will, I said this to JD yesterday, I believe we'll exceed our projections for this division. I believe I was conservative, but not doom and gloom when I forecasted, and I think we're going to exceed the forecast.
Yeah, well, you better now because you've told him that. So it's now,
I know.
Now he's like, well, what do you said that we were going to be better than I thought? What happened? But
if not, I might come to you and I might start doing interviews.
There you go. Well, that's what you should do. But no, I think you're right. I actually think you're right. I think that the future, especially in the luxury space, as always, I mean, whenever there seems to be a crisis, the quickest and easiest one to recover is the upscale travel areas, and because people can afford it and they can go. And the ones in terms of the mass market, little little less, there's going to be a bit more of a challenge, I think, getting people back on cruise ships who either haven't cruised that much or haven't cruised at all. We talk about first timers, and they're going to be a little skittish to go unless the offer is just really good. Of course, if you tell me I can spend $25 a day on a cruise ship, maybe that's better than staying. That was the old day. Back in around 9/11. In those days, we had some really incredibly ridiculous offers. Not good for travel advisors because the commission on those cruises was next to nothing. But it sounds like nobody's going to hopefully take that route this time. We'll get some attractive offers and some value offers, but I think that it's going to take a little bit more time. Now, anything else that you'd like to get out to your travel advisors within the Global Travel Collection or travel industry as a whole?
Yeah, so the one thing I wanted to touch on is a recent survey that we did for corporate travel. And, there's been so much noise about corporate travel is not going to return. Right. We're not necessarily seeing that. We do have pockets that are still slower, but we did a recent survey, and I thought it might just be worth sharing some of these results. Recently, we did a survey of our advisors' corporate customers, and we asked them around, the resuming travel and how likely is it. 83% of the respondents said that they believe they'll be traveling by October 1st. Now, that's very different than what you've heard. That's what our corporate...
That's your survey. Yeah, that's more encouraging than we have heard. Absolutely.
Right. And then we asked about the enthusiasm of business travel, and 83% said they're either somewhat or very enthusiastic about travel. I think, this is just my perspective on things. I think had the pandemic started to end around September or October, we might have had more difficulty. This might sound weird, but we might have had more difficulty in corporate travel returning. But it has been so long now, and we're also fatigued from not being with our colleagues and conducting business in this manner, that it's like almost the opposite, that we're like, we have to get out there. I mean, imagine conducting a sale in this manner, right? Yeah. So I feel, it's going to take longer, we know, than leisure, but I don't think it's as doom and gloom as what's been painted in so many studies and publications. Now, that's Angie's thoughts, right? Whether I'm right or not, we'll have to, determine if I'm correct in the future.
Well, if we told that to JD too, he'll hold you to that one too. So I'm
getting myself back.
You're getting boxed in by your rosy predictions, but I think you're right. I totally think that corporate will come back, especially meetings and conventions, that kind of thing. I know within the industry, it's just everybody's chomping at the bit to get back together again at some form.
I agree.
Most, I'm kind of looking at my fall saying, how am I going to do this? Because there's so many different travel agency group meetings that I have to go to, that I usually go to, but it's going to be on top of each other. But to be honest with you, if it's a choice between having them on top with all Zoom meetings or a choice of being all live meetings, I'd rather have the live meetings, right?
I agree. You are going to need your shot too, because you're going to be traveling that much. I would just say, you asked what I would say, to the travel agency community. Like, this is a community like no other. When you look across different business lines, I see these independent contractors, who are competitors in one respect, but they're friends and colleagues in another. They band together to help each other. This industry is about people coming together, people working together.
Right.
ASTA has done a lot of work. How do we continue to help each other survive? And I think that's kind of where we need to be. So while I'm very, very proud of Internova and look to help Internova grow their revenue, I want that for all of the agencies, because the reality is, right, we want to survive. We're passionate about this industry. And, without the advisors, the advisors that I get the opportunity and the pleasure of working with every day, without them, right, this industry starts to fall. Right. And so I have to give them the utmost credit for surviving, sticking to it, giving everything they've got. And I just hope that, how I feel about the future comes true, and they have the opportunity to reap the reward of this terrible year. Right. And everything that they've done for their travelers and their consumers. I hope it comes back to them tenfold.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more wholeheartedly. Angie, I want to thank you for taking the time to speak with us. I'm glad you agreed to interview me with me once again, despite the last interview. I'm so sorry about that. No, it was
a pleasure. It's a pleasure always.
But yeah, and hopefully the next time we'll see each other, we keep talking about this, it will be in person. And we'll do an in-person interview. I know I'm looking forward to the fall when we can get back and doing meetings. And in fact, one of the first meetings is, you mentioned ASTA. Right now, it's still on schedule for August in Chicago. We'll see if that happens. I would really like it to happen, and then there's going to be a slew of others after that. But it's really something I've spent the last 25, 30 years of my life going to all these meetings.
I know.
And to just have them taken away in one fell swoop for a whole year is kind of disconcerting, if not ultimately disconcerting. So I'm looking forward to it. But again, thank you so much for talking with us.
Yeah, we want to thank you too for continuing to get the story of the advisor and keeping the advisors highlighted in this industry. It's so important. So we thank you as well for the work you're doing on our behalf.
Again, thanks again, Angie. And I'm James Shillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.